Welcome to The Open Queue, a podcast where we talk about entertainment, pop culture, and the daily life of navigating the entertainment industry as a creative. I'm your host, Shako Omari, and I'm joined by my business partner, Charles Malone. We'll sometimes have other creative guests on to tell us about their journey in the industry, dealing with their ups and downs, struggles, and successes. We'll also touch on the current changes to the business of television and film, as well as cue up what we're watching, listening to, or a piece of art we've been inspired by. The music you're listening to is called We Got This, Stonygate 2, from the movie Highest to Lowest, composed by Ferguson McCready and Howard Drozen. And now, let's get queued up. Yo, and we're back again.
What a terrible time to yawn. And
am I boring you already, Charles?
No,
already.
Dude, 3, 2. Oh no, a yawn's coming. Been waiting for that morning coffee.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
So, as usual, we're back again here at the Open Queue to discuss the fun stuff that's going on in entertainment. One quick note: it sounds like Paramount is looking to buy Warner Brothers, so it looks like we're going to have that probably going through. And funny enough, the parent company of Skydance, on top of Skydance, which is Oracle, apparently it's come out in the news that Oracle might take over TikTok. So it looks like Oracle's going to have everything.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of these mergers. Not even just in entertainment, just overall. I think we covered this once. I think it's just bad for the long-term business. It kills creativity and innovation because it ties things up, and bureaucracy that's be approved and be approved and be improved, and it really slows down the process and it kills the little man. So maybe we should break up a lot of these mergers. EA shouldn't be allowed to buy anything else.
Right, Microsoft.
And it kills competition because Apple's no different. They look at companies who are thriving somewhere else, and then they throw them a bag that's almost impossible to refuse, and then they gobble that up, lay people off, and just what's kind of why we're sitting in this place we're in now.
Yeah, it's an interesting time. I mean, we'll see what comes out of all of this. Again, this is just breaking news, I guess. It depends on when you listen to this, obviously. But yeah, we'll see what comes out of this. But I am in agreement. I do feel like having more companies lends to more diversity, which lends to more innovative ideas. But
yeah, I think, not many people in our generation, overly quote Steve Jobs, but I mean, he was throwing out bangers. One of the things that he predicted was when companies will go downward, and that's when business people take over because they don't know what it means to innovate, and their whole thing is numbers. And then after they become too numbers focused, you tend to lose the people that were coming for your products because you're no longer making good products. You're just trying to sell. So who knows? So for all the creatives out there, don't be discouraged. Keep doing your thing. Keep going because it's time to make our own companies. Yeah. The Neil deGrasse Tyson thing on the podcast you said, he was your idea or your creativity will be the only unique thing because no one will ever have your exact take, down to the T.
Yeah. Your experiences are unique. So with that, was there any unique experiences that you had that inspired you recently or anything that you saw?
That inspired me. I know we already did this episode. And it's not necessarily that K-pop inspired me, but it's the influence that the arts have on people. Because my daughter is new and consuming all of this new stuff, and to see what sticks or what doesn't, and the overlap of what's entertaining to me that's also entertaining to her is kids get art in their own little way, which is really inspiring. Because right now everything's K-pop. I want to be a K-pop. Everyone in the house is a K-pop. That's what she just calls it. She doesn't know the character's name. We're all K-pop. She puts on a green shirt and she's like, I don't even know why it's K-pop. It's K-pop.
It's K-pop. The imagination of kids. Yeah. I love that.
That there inspires you, the imagination of kids. I think I was working with an older professor. She had to be in her 80s. She was like, Charles, I may look old out here. And she tapped her head, but not in here. It's you only get old if you allow yourself to get old. At least mentally.
I was about to say, is that the secret to immortality? I just think it in my body, because right now my body's
oh yeah, but mental youthfulness.
Yes,
and to look out into the world and see like infinite possibilities. I think I don't know if we talked about this, but one of my favorite things is looking out, going to a store, and if you look at the shelves and you're like, man, someone decided to start a rice company when there's already an infinite amount of rice brands. You know, there's tons of dreamers out there, and there's going to be tons of naysayers to tell you why you can't do something. But people who like go against the odds really inspire me.
The crazy ones.
Yeah.
Another Steve Jobs banger.
Look, man, he was doing the thing.
I get it. Put a dent in the universe.
How about yourself?
For me, interestingly enough, I saw Demon Slayer Infinite Castle. So they're coming out, it's like the movie that's a continuation of the Demon Slayer anime series. And they have 3 movies coming out to finish off the series. And I went and watched it in the movie theater. And I was super inspired simply because the artistry, like all of those animators, whatever they do to do what they do, man, kudos to you guys. I mean, again, the voice actor is great. The director, however the animation is produced, congratulations to everybody on that, because that was an experience. Like I just sat there and it's just like, if a majority of this was done like hand animated, the creativity, the dedication, the thought process to put what they put on the screen, wow, just hand clap to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Demon Slayer is always like tip top on the animation.
Yeah, it just was, the music, everything to it. I sat there and was just like, this is awesome. Like it was a nice bit of escapism, but it also told like really great stories about, in anime, how they have this thing where you're judging a bad guy until you find out his backstory. And then you go, oh, I loved that human aspect of it. Again, just great overall.
That's actually a great segue into
today.
The movie we're going to cover today. Because I kind of felt that way about the antagonist in this film. It's like, once you find out his background, you're like, oh man, to be overlooked and like to try and like get pushed to such desperation when like if someone just would have given you the time of the day, So with that, we're going to talk about the highest to lowest, the Spike Lee joint on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, so I am first off, I guess we should know this is, I think, the 5th time that Spike and Denzel Washington have worked together on a film, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's the 5th time. Again, everyone knows Spike. He's been in the game for a long time. And this one specifically was based on a book originally that became a Kira Kurosawa film that Spike has redone or done his own interpretation of it.
So before we jump into this, it was a adaptation of the Kurosawa film.
Yeah.
Which I told you before when we were going to do this, that Spike needs to stop doing this. Stop adapting Asian films, Spike. No more Old Boy, no more Yellow Sea. Just stop it.
Okay. So you have feelings.
I do. There's parts of the film that I really did enjoy. I definitely don't agree with the reviews that it's getting. It's actually getting reviewed very well. It's like 86 on Rotten Tomatoes with an 85 audience score. I definitely don't think it's a bad piece of art because it definitely feels like a great love letter to New York and a tribute to Black culture.
Yeah, I got that.
That part, phenomenal.
Right.
Couldn't say it more. As a structured film and the craft of it, I didn't enjoy it, not at all. It mostly because of the score.
Yep.
Was so loud across the entire film that it was distracting from scenes. And it also didn't feel like it fit certain scenes.
Yes, not to cut you off, but
yeah.
I'm in agreement with you there. Like, I do wonder if it was one of those things where like the musical score, depending on like streaming services, sometimes ups the score and doesn't enhance the dialogue. I know that there's that option to do so, but I agree with you. There was times where I thought the music was just overpowering. And like specifically, there was one scene, I think when they, spoiler alert. So we're going to go into a little bit of detail here. So if you have not seen this, pause now, go watch it, and then come back. Hopefully that gave you enough time to pause.
You should always love Shaka because I'm just going to spoil it for you.
So there is a scene where they hear about the son getting kidnapped. So Denzel Washington plays a very high-powered executive, a music executive, clearly in the upper wealth class of New York. And he sends his kid to basketball camp, and he can't make it because he's trying to deal with his own business about whether he should sell it or buy back his label. The whole corporate merger thing that we keep talking about. And in this corporate merger, will he still have the soul of his company? In that whole process, his son ends up getting kidnapped. That's what we hear. We get the phone call, and there's this moment where obviously Denzel and his wife are in shock or whatnot. And for me, that scene makes sense, but the music that played behind it almost, I want to say, kind of cheapened that moment for me. It took me out.
It took you out of the moment. It made now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think the acting was bad. I think the music made it feel over dramatic because of the music. And then when they cut to the police cars coming, it almost feels like the 70s Batman with the Adam West Joker.
I could see that, yeah.
Not the Adam West Joker, but Adam West
Batman, yeah.
And it's loud. It doesn't fit the scenes. Across the entire film, it took me out of it. And just to continue on the synopsis, so after the first call, you find out that like his son's okay, but his right-hand man, his driver son, was kidnapped in the place of his son. And the conflict becomes, well, is he going to pay for his driver's kid to be freed? Because like that's not his son and he needs that money. And it like kind of like comes between Denzel and Jeffrey Wright for a bit of like, well, you're going to pay for your son, but now that it's my son, it's too high of a price. And then everyone starts turning it on to Denzel's character of like, well, if you don't pay, the internet's going to find out and they're going to flame your company and that's it. And, he really wasn't going to pay, but that pressure of saving his company, eventually with the cops promising he would get his money back, he does put up the money to save his driver's kid. And the hijinks that ensue with him trying to deliver the money gets lost. So then they have to like find out who this guy is so he can find his money. And the guy who stole the money is the guy I really started to feel for, which ended up being like a rapper who did some time and, over the course of like off-screen time, he tried to get in touch with Denzel's character, King David, who had the best ears in the business. And he idolized him. All he wanted was a
shot.
Yeah, a shot. And of course, when you get to that level, you forget what it's like to grind. I mean, even in this industry, I think, assistants who like had to eat ramen noodles or live with 5 roommates, you eventually make it and like you kind of lose touch.
Yeah.
And that part of like knowing what it's like to grind and like just to get a shot to someone to pay attention to you pushes people to like desperation. What he did was wrong.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah. But you do understand his motives.
So to speak on a positive part of, because I know we talked about not liking the music and certain aspects of it. On the positive part, I did find that was a very interesting commentary on today, to your point, because not only does he do something horrible like kidnap, to get the attention to try to elevate himself, to break in basically to the industry, he actually does end up breaking in because of social media. The very same thing that King David was worried about would tear down his company for doing pretty much an inhumane thing, letting his driver's son stay kidnapped and die. This guy actually ended up getting celebrated for doing the kidnapping and releasing the song. And then he was the #1 trending song globally, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I think Denzel's character in the movie has a line that's like, all money isn't good money. And as someone who doesn't have social media, like I understand I'm usually at odds with people in our age demographic on like, well, how are you going to succeed? I literally had people say like, well, how are you going to succeed if you don't have social media? And you find ways to make whatever work that works for you. And in this, at the end, he was like, well, look, I put you back on the map with the, before me, you were like, well, this is the rapper Young Felon saying like, before me and the kidnapping, your company was dying and now you're trending again. But Denzel walks away from all of that to start something smaller and get back kind of to the music. Yeah. And it's funny, this is an A24 film and it's interesting, right? Because A24 kind of started out this way, right? Of doing, and we'll go through a little bit of their catalog and maybe some of our favorites, but started doing the smaller indie out there films. But now you kind of like, as money slowly starts to become the focus, do you start to lose your way? Because then you're chasing larger global box offices and new streams of revenue. When do you like stop becoming the
conglomerate?
Yeah.
That's what I did like about this movie is speaking onto how the industry's changing and how constantly getting more money than you ever had before. Because that's a line that they say when they're talking about selling the company to this bigger company. We have an opportunity to have more money than we've ever had before, which is why Denzel says that all money isn't good money. It is the question of like the thing it is that you fell in love with. And I think it goes back to another Apple show studio. The thing it is that you fell in love with, does money come into play that you stop caring about what it is? His wife even says to him,
I was going to say that.
Like, I remember when you used to walk across the bridge listening to music and you were so excited. You were so in love with doing this job. And now it just seems like it's just meetings and everything every day. And in that, funny enough, the way he discovers Young Felon and finds out that it's Young Felon is he happens to be walking across the Brooklyn Bridge like he used to, listening to music again. A playlist that his son had said, hey, here are all these new artists you should listen to, and he never did.
Well, the assistants versus agent thing in this industry, once you get to a certain level, you're only looking at a certain bracket or like status of like writer or director or actor. That it's really a lot of the assistants and coordinators that are like keeping up with this like upcoming talent, because at a certain point you get too big to like look at these up and comers. Like I've been in situations where like I throw a name, I was like, well, who is this name? They couldn't carry a film. And fast forward, those names are like carrying films.
Right. So,
it also seems like a tale as old as time. When do you get too big? Or when do you hang up your hat too? Because that's a part of this film. Like the wife said, I thought you were walking away from this though.
Oh yeah.
To sell the company, to spend more time with your family so we can travel. Mm-hmm. How much is too much? And when is it time to hang up your hat? There was that, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter article about executives are staying longer and no longer retiring. So people in their like late 40s to early 30s aren't getting the chances to like run studios or run sets because people aren't retiring. So like, also, when is it just like hang it up?
Right. It's like, again, we talked about anime earlier. I like to go back to like what I sometimes see in anime, which is the theme of it's the next generation's turn. It's like the older generation goes, we had our time. Now we become mentors to the next generation. And it seems like that is something that I guess maybe we've lost in the West and I'm not trying to say force people into retirement, because I feel like, to your point, you can be 80 years old and have the mind of a 20-year-old and you still have ideas and you still want to explore. You shouldn't just stop living. But I feel like in the West, maybe we have the idea of retirement as you're done, you're dead, there's nothing else you can offer. Where I think you move into a mentorship role and you start mentoring the next generation and you start advising them. You move on to, hey, I'm retired, but call me. I can help walk you through what I understand or what it is I need to do. Because I feel like that's what the only place that seems to happen nowadays is in athletics, because your body physically can't keep playing. So instead you become a coach or you become an analyst or, something like that. Like Rick Fox in this movie was a basketball coach. He started a basketball camp. And so to your point, I think it's just a reframing of hanging up your hat doesn't necessarily mean that you're done. It just means that you're moving to a position where you give the next generation their time.
So I listened to on Proximity Media, like Courtney Valenti talked to, one of her old assists, and Charles D. King talks to Ryan Coogler on the same podcast. And both kind of talk about this thing in our industry where on the way up, you're expected to know everything. Mm-hmm. Like it's really hard to say, I don't know, because you're kind of not allowed to not know. It's a very sink or swim industry where so many people are in the rooms or they get their chances and like they have to like pretend they know something, write it down, then go home and research and become an expert like really quickly overnight. And I think we should like get to a place where we're expanding that mentorship or like leaning into it and really like helping the shepherd the next generation so that they're ready to do this when it's their turn, that people aren't just put into places where like, well, if you can't swim, that's it, you can't do it. And it's like, well, if someone would have just taught me to do it, but I guess it's a way of weeding people out in their minds. Or I don't even think it's that. I think it's just like this backwards ass, like paying it forward. The same reason some people don't want to get rid of student loan debt. It's like, well, I had to pay my student loans, so they should have to pay theirs. That's a stupid ass argument.
Yeah. Instead of, to your point, paying it forward, like I don't ever have somebody like do what I didn't like. It's instead, well, you have to pay your dues. And it's kind of like, but you didn't like paying your dues.
Yeah.
like you thought it sucked. So why do you feel like I should be miserable because you were miserable?
And some places breed it. Like I've seen some assistants from some of the agencies become exactly like the agents that they complained about on like Agents versus Assistants. And it's like, well, how are you any better than the thing that you complained about?
Hurt people hurt people.
So I was like, just gonna sigh.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
But overall, I felt that going back to the film, that of the highest to lowest leaned too much into the love letter and the tributes to New York, celebrity cameos and the pictures of the people from the past, and less about the story, because if you cut that out, it would be a much tighter film. You know, a good film is there. It's just mucked up with, to me, not that it's not a good score. It's just a score that didn't fit the overall film, especially the scenes where they really decided to drive it home for some reason. And like the Puerto Rican parade would have been great as a distraction to like steal the money, which is how they use it. But again, it would have been a much tighter film if you waste time. And Rosie Perez and Anthony Ramos, we're from New York. Like you still would have got the love letter to New York, and it would have been a much tighter film than all of the like over the head preaching. Maybe that's just who he is, right? Because like Do the Right Thing was great, but it was still preachy.
Yeah, he
loved Malcolm X, the 25th Hour, Inside Man. I liked most of Black Klansman.
Yeah.
You know, I did not like the Five Bloods for kind of the same reasons of the highest to lowest. She Hates Me, I enjoyed, you know, how I feel about Old Boy.
Yes, we know. I knew that was coming. Yes, we know how you feel about Old Boy. Look, I liked a lot of the ones that you're talking about there. I will say this, though, but like the last thing on highest to lowest. I do know that it seems like Spike is 100% a New Yorker. I mean, he's at the Knicks game. Like,
fuck the Celtics.
Yeah, he's 100% a New Yorker. I think in his tributes, I think what's really upsetting you about all his tributes is because he didn't put the halal guys in there. Because anyone that's lived in New York knows that's the best street food out there. I bet you if you'd put that in there, you might have been like, okay.
It's just too little too preachy for me. Yeah. And it distracted from the story and the performances. Because we keep saying last thing. The last thing that we talk about is like, there's been this running debate, and I won't say anyone is better than anyone, but just like Denzel versus Jeffrey Wright. And I think this is the first film they've been in together.
Huh. I'd have to research that.
Because
I don't know.
Jeffrey Wright steals almost every scene that he's in.
He's good.
Which in the past, I've said Jeffrey Wright is a better actor than Denzel.
Jeffrey Wright's my boy, though. But you know, I think
it's debatable.
I think they're.
But I wouldn't say one's better than the other.
Yeah, I think they're great in what they do.
Yeah, but I was happy to see both of them in this film because I'm a big fan of both.
Yeah,
definitely a huge fan of Jeffrey Wright. But yeah, just great acting from those two. Masterclass.
Honestly, I would like to see them together again, but in something a little, those two are the main focus, you know?
Some of this film almost felt like a play.
Yes.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I hate play movies.
I'm glad that you said that because I wanted to bring that up. There's moments in there where it really felt like a stage play.
Yeah.
Like that scene where Denzel's talking to himself, basically. Yeah. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is a theater monologue. Yeah. Like this would have been perfect on stage. It would have been great.
I hate stage movies so much. I hate play movies.
Yeah, I know. I think maybe it's because...
I enjoy plays.
Okay, so
I enjoy movies.
I have a question.
I hate play movies.
When you say play movies, like saying Macbeth or whatnot, that bothers you? Or is it when it feels like the film is shot like it's on a theater?
Was that like Miami movie with all the black actors?
Oh, Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, in Miami. I wonder if that was what it was called, but
yeah,
I could be butchering it. Yeah, it's movies that play out like a play. Really don't like. Well, I'll just go see the play.
But again, is it because it's the way that it's shot? It feels like a play to you, or is it that it's like the dialogue seems like a play?
Well, why I enjoyed some of Macbeth because there was some funky artistic choices in there, but ultimately things that feel in the dialogue, like overly dramatic monologues and talking to the audience. I enjoy breaking the fourth wall. There's just something about, I'd watch the play. Like, I don't need to see this.
Got it. There's just something that gives you like, this could be on stage, and then that throws you out
of the experience of the movie.
Interesting. Okay. Very interesting.
But did it fit into the A24 mold?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm very curious because I have not, like, I know for you really like A24 a lot. And I enjoy some of the movies. Like, I just watched Warfare last night and I was like, wow, this is beautifully done for a war film, in my opinion. But a lot of A24 movies I tend to not watch because they're more on the spookier side. But I know that you're a big fan of them. It's one of the things like you wanted to, it's like a model or a template of some of the things that we do. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on, does this fit with A24 and A24's catalog?
I didn't see it at first. I think, Spike Lee is beloved OG, like original indie director, and A24 has been the indie king, but slowly they're becoming bigger and bigger. And this is part of what I wanted to talk about because it fits so well with this film as A24, the brand expanding. They're pushing into, it seems like, the music business now. They're adapting, or at least attempting to adapt, the video game Death Stranded, which leads to the question, are they going to eventually try to push into the video game space like Annapurna, as well as they're extending one of their indies, Everything Ever All at Once, I think they're trying to do a Broadway experience.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to acquire the Cherry Lane Theater.
Oh, right. Because I think they were working with the Cherry Lane Theater for a bit or something like that. Yeah.
So they went from this like indie cult like film lover to now like being a studio powerhouse. And are they going to lose, that? Because they're also trying to acquire the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So with them going after all these big IPs and expanding to all these other businesses, will they be able to keep this auteur kind of
quirky,
give the artist the control? Like, will they be able to do that for music? Will they be able to do that for video games? So, or does this eventually become Paramount?
Interesting. I mean, like I think it's a good experiment to try. Can you scale up and still keep your core quirkiness,
Yeah, this is the why I think a lot of us are trying to model ourselves after A24 or like Neon or Bold Films, was the taking big swings, right? Like, because not everyone probably would have took a swing at Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right.
And this is why people kind of like look to A4, the Swiss Army Man. Like that movie was just strange.
Yeah, I didn't watch that, but I heard things like that. Or like Bold Films, you were saying, with like Nightcrawler. Or, yeah.
And then taking shots again at like, well, I think I saw this question somewhere. It was like, is A24 the new Miramax?
That's a fair question, because that's at the time, from at least when we were growing up, where a lot of those indie darlings, as they want to call it, were really churning out and just cleaning up at Oscars and things of that nature. But I do wonder with A24, even though they're expanding with this, they do have that deal with Apple, right? Or do they still have the deal with Apple? I know they had it for a while back. I'm wondering if having Apple's piggy bank behind them, where Apple at least gets first look at what they have, helps them maintain that indie feel. Because I think sometimes it boils down to money, like we're talking about. You want to continue to do the indie things, but now that you've expanded into all these areas, you also need the financial infrastructure to keep those things going.
Yeah, I think the Apple deal was a non-exclusive back from like 2018. I'm curious if it's still going, but I think non-exclusive is just Apple gets first right of refusal to stuff.
Got it.
If no one knew what like a non-exclusive deal was, I mean, it's like, it's not exclusive to just, they just have to make stuff for Apple. Just Apple gets to say, do you want this first? That's a good question. It's something I'm following, right? I'm looking forward to that rock movie, The Smashing Machine, because it seems like they also give people...
Was that A24? Oh, wow. Okay.
A chance to... And I always ask you this as an actor, like, what's the one thing you want to do outside of you being typecast? And it seems like the Iron Claw for the wrestling movie, Zac Efron and those people, they give people the chance to...
explore.
Yeah. And that part I love, like, Patrick Stewart playing a neo-Nazi in Green Room was like... Green Room is one of my favorite A24 films.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, it's the late Aaron Yeah, how do you say his name? Yelkovich. He's a young man that died when he was like 27 club.
Is it Anton?
Anton Yelkovich. Yeah. Great film. Ghost Story was so Rooney Mara had to eat that pie. That pie. As an actor, she just literally, you get the spit gag, right? You eat it. No, she just sat there. Camera didn't move and ate an entire pie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's like the commitment of the actor, the scene. Yeah, man, 824 was Lady Bird, which, I was actually on the fence with Lady Bird.
Yeah, I remember.
Better than people give credit for it, but, to each their own. Farewell, also really enjoyed.
Don't think I saw that one.
That's a Lulu Wang film. I actually went back and rewatched Farewell. I actually really like Lulu Wang as a director. Prefer her over Chloe Zhao in my personal opinion. She has this way in Farewell of using her exterior shots of China to really set up the next scene. They're not just establishing shots; they're perfectly emotional transitions into the next scene.
Which one was the Farewell? I think
that's when.
Yes, okay, I did see that one. Yeah, that one was a really good. But see, this is the thing is I didn't even realize that was A24, but it was exactly up the alley of a movie I'd like to make.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Phenomenal.
Still above Green Room. It might be my favorite A24 film. Not that it's just solely multiverse. I think it encapsulates everything I want to do as a filmmaker. The movie was so culturally specific, but yet universally resonant, as well as just being just fun.
Yeah. All the actors in it. Yep.
Not only was it fun, it was emotionally impactful. My fiance cried while watching the film. And just how you just managed to cram everything. You talk about a 4-quadrant audience. This movie was
piece of art.
Yeah. So well done.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you can say a movie is a piece of art when they have hot dog fingers, but it was really the Daniels, tip of the hat to the Daniels. As we just give my little love letter to A24, let's speed through Ex Machina.
Loved that. Yeah.
I like the longing moments from past lives, even though I think that it was a little too dry for me, but I do get the longing that was there. Minari, which I love that A24 started to expand this indie film from just America to global indie films. Because that was the Stephen Yeun one.
Right, where they go to Middle America and
still slow burn. They're good.
Yeah. I think I find interesting about A24 too. Some of the movies do have this slow burn to it, but it really is
the human experience,
slice of life. Yeah,
8th Grade by Bo Burnham, which was
oh, I didn't see that one.
Oh man, it's so cringy. 8th grade, 13-year-old. He did he's going to be a brilliant director later on.
Okay, I'll add that to my list.
Oh yeah, I just can keep got Room with Brie Larson, which is just her and that little boy in the room, and she's being held captive.
So I have that. I bought that, and I have never watched it because for some reason I feel like it's going to emotionally wreck me.
Yeah, I'm sitting here just rattling on all these A24 films, but I guess what's one of your favorites? And seeing have you ever pretended to like one, or you've seen one and you actually didn't see it because it's taboo?
So I'm like you, Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's my top for sure. Moonlight I did like, but the ending for some reason, I just, that one.
Last act is a problem with that film.
It's
okay.
Yeah, that one, I was kind of it was going so good, and then it just kind of dropped out for me. I really enjoyed, and it's just a top of mind, Warfare, simply because the best way I could describe it is it's the first part of Saving Private Ryan. There's not a lot of deep. You get to know the characters and understand what they're going through, that kind of thing, their backstory and all of that stuff. It's a moment in time of this really crazy mission, and just the way that the intensity in which they do it as it's moving, it's just, I watched it last night, so I'm still processing it, but there are just some moments in there where they do this thing with there's pain. Man, it's amazing. I liked it. And I'm a fan of, not that I'm a fan of war, but to me, I found myself even saying this, watching it, going, how do people want to go to war with people? Watching this does not seem fun. This does not seem like something that you want to do. It just, it was
just, I think if you enjoy that, I think you should watch Surviving Black Hawk Down. if you haven't already, just as someone who does enjoy the psychology of war and people who have been in it. It's the real survivors of Black Hawk Down in 1993. It's a documentary about them and them talking about their experience being in it. Like, clearly what's declassified and they can talk about, but it's kind of harrowing, and you see that a lot of them still live with the trauma from 1993 and the things that they can't take back and that they would do differently. And they talk about, you know, how they want it to be in Delta Force, was like the elite of the elite, because it's competitive, and it's like, yeah,
right.
Versus like then you get into it and like warfare you put into these scenarios. I didn't see Warframe yet. I watched the trailer. Man, it's so hard with kids, man. I miss when we could just like bang out movies. But
yes, it's exactly that.
I'd watch Surviving Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, and not to harp on that. It's just, to me, it's like, I understand like watching action movies and whatnot. You get all this like raw, and you know, I want to do that. I want to be James Bond, that kind of thing. But this, I thought, was just an amazing way of keeping the action where you're like, man, this action's insane. But then also realizing this is not like what's sold to us that's awesome about war, because your image is that you're always winning and you're tough and you're masculine and whatnot. And then you're seeing these people in pain and you're just like, you know, this isn't fun. Like, this isn't that.
Watch the doc.
It's
that, but like real life.
Yeah. So, side note, just shout out to all the veterans out there that have seen this. I hope that you get the therapy and the benefits and the things that we as a country should provide, because, man,
I have family that are relatives, and it doesn't always work out.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know, but that's,
I hope you get it.
Back to A24.
Yeah, no, the highest to lowest I feel does fit, because it also reminds me of The Last Black Man of San Francisco, which is just, again, a love letter to San Francisco. You know, and so in a degree it does fit. Also, Jennifer had like a small, I think she was like a background actor in that movie. So
yeah.
Congrats. We went to the premiere of that one.
Kudos.
It might be my, a close runner with Everything Everywhere All At is Hereditary. I know you're never going to watch it.
Yeah, nope.
It's a horror black comedy to me. The Disaster movie, or the Disaster Artist, based off of.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Mark. Oh, dude, that's so.
That was good, because I'd seen the original and I liked the way that they did this. That was very touching. It was very honest. You know, I didn't mind Past Lives. I do feel like it was a little bit long, but as somebody that is a romantic, I guess is the best word, there is something about that deep feeling that you have for somebody. And I always get emotional with those kind of movies. So I think for me, it was just, it was nice.
Yeah. Just like A24, across all their films, they also hit on that human element, the human condition.
Yeah.
And in a way that, again, is just like completely like universally resonant, because it's a thing that ties. I keep using that, but it really is. It's all these things ties together. We all know what it's like to be sad and happy, or long for the what ifs, or what would I change, and like no matter like where you are from the world, what background you come from, we all deal with these things. They find original films that do that really well. I think I'm looking forward to also Eternity, that's coming out soon. Man. You know, essentially, the premise of that movie is like, what if the love of your life died when you were 22 and you go on to live a whole life now and get remarried and like live and die with someone, and when you die, both your love from 22 and your husband from when you died when you were 60 are waiting for you in the afterlife, but you can only spend the afterlife with one of them.
That is the most amazing concept.
I was so mad because I was like, I wish I would have made this film. Yeah. So
especially with all our discussions about faith and but
completely looking forward to someone else's, you know, take on this, because it's like, it's genius. I'm not mad in like a competitive way. It's just like, it's so good. And I'm so looking forward to seeing this. I'm so happy someone like wrote something like this, because like art inspires, and like maybe it's going to inspire someone else to go write or do something else like similar. Like, yeah. I hope A24 with this expansion and as it grows doesn't lose that part that like allows these like kooky artists and eccentric artists to like continue to be that, because that's what makes their films great.
Yeah. I agree. I was just thinking, you know, in the world that we live in now with collabs, I think it'd be awesome if Marvel licensed out one movie to A24, because I'd just be curious to see what they would do with it. Or DC, just a comic book movie. Because we were talking about everything everywhere all at once. You know, I know they've taken fantasy like the Green Knight and whatnot, you know, like things of that. But I'd be curious to see what they do.
A24 is more like a Boom Studio kind of comic book. Those like indie comic books.
Yeah.
Because they got a lot, like there's one that's probably already being adapted because like Something is Killing the Children. And like they got all of these funky, I think Bronze Faces might also be there, that one we stumbled upon about scaling back artifacts.
Yeah.
Those seem like up A24's alley.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. Black Sad, the one with like the cat noir.
That would be it. That one I think would be, and I still have to go through that, but I feel like that would be 100% A24.
But yeah, I mean, A24, they're the indie king. And speaking of indie, and the way we started this with like Paramount buying Warner's, is indie shrinking and dying. You know, Sundance is already, you know, used to be the indie darling, but now you only get to Sundance if you have a name attached for the most part, it feels like, you know.
You know, I want to... Again, both of us are optimists, so you may have to be the yin to my yang here. But I want to say, I don't know if indie's going to die just based on this current year, the resurgence of original films and people going to see them. I feel like it might have, and no fault to Marvel, but I think their missteps with some of their movies have people thirsty for original films again.
I think that's been brewing. You know, I think the theatrical releases of indie films aren't as big as they once were. And I don't know if that's fully coming back, but I think streaming is like one of these double-edged swords where it's giving indies different opportunities to like get distribution where they would have harder time getting to theaters now. The problem is I really think they're like stiffing them on their like payouts because these things are.
Which is what I think what they 100% they need to get rid of the short window, the short window, because again with Sinners, with F1, with Weapons, with I think there was something else I'm probably missing that did well. I do feel sometimes with the short window, people go,
Did you see Weapons? As a joke.
I was about to throw you out the window.
As a joke. I knew he didn't see Weapons at all.
No, but I read about it. You know, yeah. I always read the plot.
Totally being a jerk. I know you didn't watch Weapons.
No.
It was hilarious.
Of course to you.
No.
Okay, on a side note, there's a trailer for this movie, Him, coming out, right? I'm sure you've seen it. And we're watching the trailer here. And Charles goes to me, we should go see this. I said, nope. He's like, it's not scary. As he says this head with like two horns pops up. Some random weird girl with her back. You know those weird, creepy, I'm crawling on the ground. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not going to say what I wanted to say.
Oh, I know what you were going to say.
No, not happening.
Ninja Scrolls. Yeah, it's a football movie that has horror elements to it. But
yeah,
who knows? It might be a future episode.
You can report back to me. You can report back to me.
So no, but I guess how are the indie films going to, or the indie filmmakers adapting or going to adapt is interesting.
I really, again, I think
art always finds a way, obviously.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be distribution. They may have to go directly to the theaters themselves. It's going to have to be cutting down on the theatrical window. Like Warfare took a very long time to me to come out on streaming. It's just now on HBO Max. And so I think that's going to have to be part of it. You're going to have to just leave it in the theater for enough people to slowly go and see it. And it's going to have to be word of mouth. You're just going to have to do what we used to call the Christopher Nolan thing. The studios are going to have to say, hey, we'll make all our money back on this comic book movie. And then we're going to eat the cost on the indie movie and just deal with it and maybe take less of a pay cut or take a pay cut at the top.
Yeah, I think the festival circuit's not going anywhere anytime soon, even though I think that in itself is its own racket. You know, the fees, and you're probably not.
We should have a podcast just talking about submitting to festivals.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot working with different filmmakers, both producing projects and submitting projects as like a director myself, where it's like, do you just blind submit to festivals and just like hope a programmer sees it and likes it and you get in, which has happened, or the route of like knowing the right people to reach out to at these festivals, which helps kind of like toss you to the top of the list. Going to repeat festivals as a filmmaker, this way the programmers kind of like know you.
Yeah. I agree. So we should definitely talk about that.
Yeah. It's a thing. But also, co-productions, doing TikTok, or like they're now calling real shorts, which are essentially just YouTube versions of what Quibi was trying to do. And is this going to eventually be an avenue that someone cracks or figures out? Because I think there's still YouTube content that feels very YouTube, that is not necessarily like Hollywood standard. Not that it's any less good. It's just like, oh, this feels like a YouTube thing versus this feels
yeah.
Yeah, I think One Piece, the Netflix show, originally, because it was so jarring that they were like dressing exactly like the anime characters, that it felt like cosplay until I allowed myself to accept it for what it was.
Yeah.
So, and there's also like, maybe we just do a completely indie festival one, because like, how do artists start working in artist collectives or crowdfunding?
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting for us to just to talk about, like our experience with submitting it. We can talk to our friends as well about how.
There's the one decentralized pictures I sent you, which is like a collective who's trying to do crowdfunding, I guess, in the crypto space.
Oh, interesting.
They've actually had, I think, 5 or 6 films make it. One was called like Cold Wallet. Steven Soderbergh had a NFT funded film that had a release. So like, there's been films that have been released off of this, like raise money on decentralized pictures.
Yeah, let's do that. I think that'd be interesting to give our take on that.
All right before we go then, highest or low, A24, is there a film that you think is like massively overrated or completely underrated in your personal opinion?
A24?
Yeah. Or indie film. Let's not
massively overrated or painfully underrated. No, I really don't have any thoughts on that when I think about it.
You're so good.
It's not that I'm like trying to be good here and like not opinionated. I don't know of any that but also I don't pay attention to a lot of like what people say about films. Like I kind of like what I like and don't like what I like. And
actually that's fair.
Yeah. Cause in like our friend group, like, we all have opinions, very strong opinions about movies. And I think I've come to being in our friend group, just be like, I like what I like. And that's it.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Massively overrated is Nomadland. This is damn near just a documentary slice of middle America. I didn't care. It didn't feel like there was a real narrative there. And someone was like, well, it's a non-linear narrative, then it shouldn't have won Best Picture. It's not a fucking film. It's a damn
it did win Best Picture, right?
It's a documentary.
See, again, that's I guess why it's hard for me, because I agree with you. I don't think it was, in my opinion, but I've also come to learn like the Oscars are kind of what it feels like to me, and this is just my opinion, not saying I don't want one. Sometimes I feel like it's just like, we didn't give it to this person last time, so we're going to give it to this person this time. So for me, like, I feel like it was like a trend. Like it was beautifully shot.
Landscapes is the same thing of like Eternals. Eternals was not that good.
Yeah.
A Marvel film.
For me.
It was beautifully shot.
Beautifully shot. And I feel it was too big of a movie to be a movie. It would have been more interesting as a TV show.
Another one that I think is overrated, this is in A24, was The Green Knight. I just think was like
interesting, because I didn't know that was rated high. Was it really rated high?
I thought it was like, anyone who says that they completely understand that movie is a goddamn liar.
I completely understand that movie. No,
goddamn liar. I stand by what I said.
No, I liked it. I thought it was interesting, only because it made me.
It was. I'll give you that. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was a little slow. A lot of slow.
Yeah, it was a lot of slow.
It's a lot of slow. Now, completely underrated. It's hard because like I would have to like know the reviews of some. There's a indie film called Primer, which is like, I really make a low budget film. I think they spent only like maybe 10, 15 grand on this film. Fact check me. But it's a time travel film, and they really just used what they had, like their house in their garage. They rented a storage container.
Why do I feel like I know this?
I want to say it's from 2006, 2004. 2000. Shane Carruth.
I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah. Great. $7,000 at that time. 2004. Indie film. Primer would be my go-to. Underrated or more so lesser known indie film. Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily underrated.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess, I could see how you could say that Nomadland was overrated. because it won an Oscar.
I see you trying.
Yeah, because I just didn't rate it. Like, for me, it was just like, it's a beautifully shot film, but I don't think that it narratively did anything for me. So
no, because there was no narrative.
Like I thought, like
Fran was great.
I was about to say, I loved her acting. I thought it was great, but I don't rate it high. So I guess if other people rate it high, they must see something I don't see, and kudos to them, I guess.
Acquired taste. My last one I'll leave you for. Underrated, but I will say it's probably underrated because at the same time, it's not everyone's cup of tea. This is totally like
Charles,
a Guinness or like things that escargot that like.
Got it.
Yeah.
Acquired taste.
Hobo with a shotgun.
Okay, I like the name. I do like the name.
Hobo with a Shotgun is the most ridiculous film, but it's highly entertaining and actually has some like great cinematography like moments. It's extremely quotable, just dumb.
Okay, I'll add that to my list. Hobo with a Shotgun.
It's a grindhouse film.
Okay, probably not that. Grindhouse is
not the scary kind of grindhouse. There's a couple like over the top like killings, but one dude gets beat with a sock full of like quarters, so it's not like
okay, like Roma Pile kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll add it to my list to see. Nice. Well, I guess on that note,
we'll catch you back in the queue when we talk about football and him.
When you'll have that podcast with Charles alone by himself. We'll get somebody else that likes horror movies on here to have that discussion, and I'll just sit in the background going,
Yeah, the last hijinks. If you ever want a good prank and you live with a roommate, is like if you have one of those air vents, get like a wireless speaker, unscrew it, put in the air vent, and just like play
fam.
Baby crying noise or something.
No,
like the anime where it's like,
no. People, there's enough stress in the world right now. Do not stress out your friends. Do not stress out your friends, okay? Don't send them to an asylum.
Yeah. All right. We'll catch you back in the open queue.
See you next time in the queue, y'all.
The Open Queue is an Open Queue production. If you like the show, be sure to follow, rate, and review it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. And tell your friends and fam to do the same. Also, feel free to share a link to someone who you think might really enjoy this conversation. The music you're currently listening to is called Trunks, from the movie Highest to Lowest, performed by A$AP Rocky. Until next time, see you in the queue.
Niggas stay turning sides, cookie cutter, niggas soda pop, yeah, they Canada dry.